Zoe, what I'm going to make is a Balinese-style street food chicken dish that's great to cook over the hot coals. It's a simple thing to cook. I mean, some of the ingredients you might not have, but it doesn't really matter if you don't have all the ingredients. As long as you have most of them and put it in there, it'll be easy.
Okay.
I've got a bowl here of chicken mince, and what I did is I got some breast, took the skin off. I was going to put the skin on, but I thought I'm going to serve it to you, so I took it off, and I just pureed it around in my Maggi mix, so it all became nice and fine.
Quite lean.
It is quite lean, and I need it to be quite sticky so it sticks onto the skewer, but we'll talk about that later on.
Okay.
Now, what I need you to do is with the microplane, grate about a tablespoon and a half of ginger, then straight in there, and some turmeric, about a teaspoon of turmeric. I've got some spring onions there, some coriander, which has been washed, and what I'm going to do is cut that nice and fine all the way through here. Now, I've got some garlic there. If you can grab some of that garlic and grate that as well. I mean, what we're going for here are some strong flavours, because the chicken takes those flavours so well.
It's interesting, because we know that the Asian diet is a pretty healthy diet. I mean, yes, it's probably got a little bit too much salt, and I think there's probably got a little bit too much sugar coming in here as well.
Well, I like the sugar. But the thing is, I mean, Balinese street food is beautiful, and they love suckling pig.
They
I
do.
think we're like kindred spirits that were separated at birth, because there's nothing I love more than suckling pigs.
What's your background, Scottish or Scottish Balinese?
I could say Balinese, couldn't I? So I've got some little scud chilies here, which are the really hot ones, but I'll just sort of chop it all nice and rough and throw it all the way in there.
So I've got to say, Adrian, this is looking pretty healthy. There was quite a lot of palm sugar I saw go in there, so you could probably...
It was actually coconut sugar.
Oh, interesting.
Something very, very different. I've used some coconut sugar, which I came across, there were so many different types of coconut. I've got some shallots that I'm going to throw in there as well.
And I see these kaffir lime leaves, which are I just think they are the most amazing smelling leaves.
They are beautiful. Now, what I'm going to do is, you can chop them up. And I've got the whole mixture here, some coconut. I've got about a quarter of a cup of desiccated coconut. They would, of course, use fresh coconut in Bali. Some shrimp paste, which is quite strong, and believe me, it's an acquired taste. And what I'm going to do is just mix it up with my hands. And I find when I puree it in the Maggi mix, when I puree the breast like this, it makes it hold together so much better. I find if you use minced chicken that you buy from a butcher shop or the supermarket, it doesn't hold up as well. As you can see, this is quite sticky. Now, what I'll do is, behind you there, you'll find 2 long sticks of lemongrass.
Beautiful.
Now, if you grab them, what I'm going to do is, and you could use skewers, and I've got a couple of skewers that I'll do later on, but this is something that you could do just to make it look a little bit fancy.
Oh, interesting.
This is
really lovely.
And you just stick it around the outside. And cooking it on the lemongrass, it's a really firm sort of skewer. It's nice and thick, and you can make big ones, all the way around.
This is an Asian-sized skewer, you can see.
It's lovely. Now, what I'm going to get you to do is, if you grab some of that oil there in the can, I'm just going to get you to give it a spray, because what I want to do is make sure this doesn't stick to the grill. So if you grab that, give it a bit of a spray on that side there and just around the other side. That's perfect. You could use olive oil or brush it with peanut oil or whatever you want. That's handy. So all you do is pop that on like that, and you can hear that starting to sizzle. We'll make up a couple of these on the lemongrass and some skewers, and we'll be eating Balinese chicken skewers in no time. Look at this. That took about 10 minutes to cook. Nice and golden on the outside. I've just rolled it around. What do you think of that?
I've got to say, that's a pretty impressive dish.
Hey, you know what I like? I put the spring onion on it. I think most people might look at a lemongrass and think, oh, that's a bit wacky.
I think that was my idea, actually.
I just can't remember. I just can't remember whose idea it was. But the skewer is what people would normally have. But the spring onion I think worked really well. But because we pureed the chicken up, it just sort of held together and firmed up like a sausage. But I reckon that's...
So is there some tricky way I've got to take this out?
Tricky way? I reckon we'll just
hoe into it?
I reckon we'll just hoe into it. Just squeeze some lime on it first for you. What do you think of that?
All right, this looks very fresh.
You eat in such a dainty way. This is the way you do it. It's like, it's on a stick. It's purpose built to be eaten like this. You've got to watch out for the eyes. A little trick with kids, though, is if you want to stop them from poking themselves, when you put the meat on the skewer, you actually burn the end of the skewers and break it off, and then there's no big sharp point.
Adrian,
what do you think of that?
That is delicious. That is really fresh. Absolutely beautiful. Although I like the fact that you use, instead of using sugar, because I'm not a big fan if we have too much sugar in our diet and westernised diets. So coconut sugar, to something a little bit different.
Chicken skewers or chicken on a stick. Chicken on a stick, another great way of doing it.